Mahesh, thank you for being here today.
It's a pleasure.
I'm very much looking forward to talking about our North Star guiding AWR Group into its new era. Can you start off by introducing yourself and a bit about your role at AWR Group?
I've been in the group for now 15 years. The journey started by in automotive. Started the used car division for the group. I would say start evolving the used car division. Now I do strategy and business development for the group. Um, it's been for the last 3 years trying to steer the group into in this uncertain environment into what we call generation next.
Yes.
Thrive in the generation next.
Yeah.
That's the objective. Yeah. So the strategy and business development becomes comes hand in hand for a couple of reasons. Is when you want to create a roadmap for the future, um, and then you say, okay, this is where I want to go, but for going there, I need to grow my business in a particular section. So then I take the responsibility to grow in that section. So I think it fits quite well.
Yeah. You mentioned trying, but you're not trying, you're absolutely succeeding.
Yes, I mean, there are areas where we have succeeded, but there are still areas where we need to try harder. So it's interesting to steer a group like AWR into the future. So yeah, it's an exciting times.
Yeah, you're absolutely the man for the job. So, how would you describe Vision 2030 in simple terms to someone who's not familiar with it?
So for any business to succeed, there are two, three key ingredients. One is obviously the talent, the people that we have across, and the tools that they bring across within the business. Now, to motivate these teams and give them a direction, the Vision 2030 sets a roadmap for them. So it's kind of a North Star for the businesses and for the team which delivers the objectives for that business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so necessary when you've got a group of businesses across many verticals, which we keep expanding as well. It is that kind of North Star for us to focus on. And why is now the right time for AWR Group to set out such a long-term vision?
It's an interesting time now. If you look at the current external environment, there are so many changes that are happening. So there are changes in the economic, the social environment, the number of people coming into UAE. So it's a quite dynamic situation. Now, to give an example for automotive. So today, a few years back, when we heard of the term ACES, which stood for Autonomous Connected Cars, Electrification, and Shared Mobility. Now, if you see four acronyms of the word ACES, each one has progressed substantially. If you see electric vehicles, currently we are closer to 10% penetration of the market. Now, 10% is sort of an inflection point. At that level, the acceptance becomes more and more. So people start to shift from their traditional purchases of ICE vehicles into electric. We've also now seen, as we speak, testing of autonomous cars in UAE, both in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So there are in excess of 100 plus cars being tested. As automobile is going through this transition, so as people say, we were there for 100 years with the traditional technology, and now over the last 5-6 years, we've seen this transition. So in a changing environment, it is very important that we focus on where do we want to go. So that's why the Vision 2030 becomes very critical.
What does this say about AWR Group as a family business? Because we've always looked beyond today anyway.
AWR now has got the new mission statement, which is Generation Next. So when we look at Generation Next, today this vision sets a tone for that Generation Next. If you visit any of the shareholders' offices, you will find books like these, on their racks. So they're continuously evolving, learning, trying new things across. So, this vision sets the tone for the future.
Yeah. And it all started with late founder as well, I think.
Yeah. I think he sets a strong foundation for us to take off.
Yeah. How would you describe Vision 2030 in simple terms to someone who's not familiar? Where did it come from?
So if you look at any organization who want to succeed, they need to have a North Star. And in the current changing environment where things are changing very fast, if you look at economic situations, with the current situation with the tariffs in US, how it is impacting each and every country in the world, looking what's happening in UAE and in Middle East, the political situation, the wars. So the environment is very fluid and flexible. So today, unless we are all together to have a direction where we want to steer the group to, something like a North Star. So it's very imperative that we as a group with different verticals that we have within the groups have a common focus, common objective. That's where the Vision 2030 sort of arose. We started this last year, which was the first year that we sort of put some thoughts together. And this year we revisited it. The vision's obviously not changed, but with the changing environment, the road to that vision has evolved.
What is Vision 2030? What comes under it? I know there's 6 aspirations we can about. So can you go into discuss what they are?
So, the Vision 2030 for AWR Group, there are 6, sort of key aspirations that we have put for ourselves. One, and some of these aspirations we've already moved significant amount ahead on those aspirations. Yeah. The first one is to be the leading UAE national company. So all the business units that we have, how can we be market leaders in the business units that we have? So that's the first one. Second is we would like to represent the top brands. Yeah. So if you look at in automotive, we've got Nissan, Infiniti, Renault, which was our legacy brands that we distribute, and then we added brands like Chery, Zeekr, themselves are leading brands. And then the third one is we want to be a preferred partner for all our stakeholders. Just representing brands is one part of the story, but how do we ensure that amongst all the other distributors in the region, we sort of take a leading position there. So that's our third aspiration. The fourth one is sort of an enabler, because we need to innovate in the technological space. And technology is one tool for us which does to achieve the day-to-day operations. How can we be a leader in the technological innovation space? So that's the fourth. The fifth one is very key, which is to be an employer of choice. If we do our job right and we attract good talent, then achieving vision and our objectives becomes easy. And the last is to be an ESG champion in the UAE. Every activity that we do is how are we focusing towards each of the aspirations of environmental, social, and governance. We've got some goals that we've set across on this roadmap, and so that's Vision 2013
in a nutshell. And which out of those 6 aspirations that you've just listed feels the most personal to you?
For me, if you have the right talent, colleagues like yourselves and everybody in AWR, if you have the right talent, then the other 5 becomes a byproduct. So
that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. So for me, having the right team, right talent, people who are motivated to achieve the vision, that's very personal to me.
Yeah, I think it's about having everyone believe in it, right?
True.
And then all of those aspirations work hand in hand with the people pushing it forward. Okay, great. So was there a moment that really brought these aspirations to life, and particularly for the leadership team?
So today, if I take a step back and see the development that has happened over the last few years, and I go back to automotive because that's a very strong pillar within the group. So in automotive, if you look at what do we offer to the customer, so we offer their mobility needs. So if I break that down, mobility needs into various areas. So first one being, we represent Japanese brands. Now people trust Japanese brands because of their reliability, quality. Then if you look at Chinese, people look at it because it's value for money. Yeah. And then if you look at electric vehicles, for example, it touches the ESG, objective that we have across. Recently, we added buses into our distribution. Now that's a people mover. So if you look at various verticals within the automotive space, for the leadership, there was a challenge when we started AWR Bikes. So if you look at it's a very small portion within the group. Now you could say that it's a distraction. And why is AWR Automotive putting resources and effort, a small business unit. And if you on the full business that we on automotive, this is very insignificant. But then if you put this on Vision 2030, and then you look at where AWR bikes would be 2030, it will not be as insignificant as it is now, but probably a bigger share, specifically when we see last mile deliveries, gaining traction, aspiration of moving this last mile delivery into electric, and that's a space which allows us, to get into that business.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're constantly expanding our portfolio across all business verticals, and that's just an example of one of them, right?
So if I deep dive into what's the core input for us to achieve Vision 2030, for me, talent, manpower, the colleagues that we have on the team becomes a very important ingredient for us to deliver the vision. Now, if you look at talent, the talent needs to be, diversified, and we are very proud to have so many nationalities into our workforce. Diversity in terms of nationality, diversity in terms of gender. Also, as we start, getting talent from various parts of the world, we start to learn best practices. We start to learn different ways that the business is done in other markets. So we continuously evolving. Also, the talent that comes across brings in a bit more variety to us delivering the results. Obviously, it indirectly also touches the ESG part of our objective.
Yeah, we looked yesterday at the people stats across the group. I think we're now at around 3,500 employees from across 65 nationalities, speaking over 100 different languages. So,
fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great feeling to see that.
I mean, if I look at India, China, or for that matter any other European countries, you would not find this kind of diversity. So this market is so different. And it makes it more interesting.
Yeah. There's never a dull moment.
Yes.
And how do you make sure people, culture, and values stay at the center of it all in terms of Vision 2030?
This is something which is very, very difficult. But then once you lay down clear values for the group, then it becomes easier. So, for example, to take example of integrity, and that's one of our core values.
Yes.
And there have been instances where the business demands you to do some activities which don't sort of align with this core value.
True.
Then the decision making becomes so much easier. So I guess once the values are laid down and people are aware and they embrace it, then it becomes so much easier for people to follow it. And then as leaders, you sort of lead with these values. You showcase it.
Yes.
So then becomes a part of the culture for the group.
Yeah. If you look at our new culture and values, our people proposition, and within that rallying cry, which is to empower your future potential, it's easier to get our people, beating to the same drum and going out there, feeling empowered and with the autonomy as well to forward Vision 2030. How did you balance when you were laying out 6 aspirations of Vision 2030? How did you balance keeping them bold while making them achievable?
Yeah, this is a very tricky one. It's a very difficult one, when you start to build this vision. So when we were sort of consolidating our thoughts, the 2 of these strategic vision objectives, one is to be a UAE's leading national company. So today, it's a bold vision. Now, if it is a bold vision, it should scare you. Yeah. So but we need people to know that it's bold, but then how do I quantify that bold into an actionable one? So, can I be in the top 3 for each brand that we represent? And then we are there. For example, in Amaron batteries, we are the leading batteries seller in the market. So it was a bold vision a few years back, but now it is achieved. So how does we make it achievable? So we break down into bits and pieces. I think the 2 key enablers for any vision to be achieved is technology and people. And we spoke about then empowering the talent to achieve those. But then we also enable them and give them training tools so that they use the best technology in driving their businesses to achieve that bold vision.
So we keep referring to Vision 2030 being our North Star that's guiding us. We've touched on disruptive innovation and also empowering talent. What other pillars are there guiding us, guiding the compass alongside those?
So if you look at one key ingredient for success, it is always innovation. And innovation has multiple aspects to it. Process improvement, which in Japanese terms they call kaizen, that's one pillar within the innovation. And innovation becomes a broad term. So for us, innovation becomes a key game changer. Our HR empowered people by taking them through a Harvard Business Review's Transform program.
Yeah.
And as an outcome of that, people were asked to do projects, and we received excellent projects in of 25 projects. But if I look at behind those projects, it was all innovative ideas that each of these participants shared with us. Two of those ideas are now getting implemented very soon across. So that's according to me is a real game changer for us. How do we continuously innovate?
Yeah.
And now, as a part of our Vision 2030, where innovation, technological innovation and innovation is a key input, we're going to take this to the next level going forward.
Yeah. And I think as well, not just looking at business problems or issues, but also opportunities in the market, opportunities when we look internally across the group as well.
Yes. And what's more exciting also is the direction from the shareholders is, can we also incubate external innovative ideas within the group? I think that's going to be very, very interesting going forward.
No, it's an exciting time, definitely. So how do these priorities, would you say, move Vision 2030 from words to actions? You've given some examples there, but if we were to talk about accelerating digital transformation, delivering customer-centric growth, and actually embedding the sustainable impact as well.
So I think we are now creating cross-functional teams within various business units, taking ownership for each of these initiatives, and then driving it towards achieving the change.
Yeah.
So I think these baby steps on daily basis would help us to achieve these objectives, these initiatives.
Yeah, not working in silos.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when it comes to our vision, we build businesses to enrich the lives of every generation we touch. Can we go into more details there and focus on purposeful?
Yeah, absolutely. So today, if you look at the pillars of that, we have different verticals. So if you look at automotive, basically automotive as a business unit evolved. So from basically we are a company that provides mobility solutions.
Yes.
Yeah, we service mobility needs of customers. But then if you look at how UAE has transformed over the years, and we've been representing Nissan brand over 50 years in this market. And as the models have evolved, and Nissan Petrol, which is one of the favorites, the infrastructure also has evolved. And when we look at where we are now in the business, each business within the automotive adds value to this mobility needs that people have across. So we're just not distributing various brands, but we are creating a reason for people to own these brands, and we meet needs across. So that's why we're purposeful business. So we not only flexibility, for example, for shift leasing customers, and we also do subscription programs for them. So if we are meeting a need that exists in the mobility in the space. So shift leasing was just one example of all the business that we do in mobility. Also, if you look at properties, and the houses and we make, you come to the offices, you could feel that there is a purpose behind how it was, sort of evolved, and this is where people stay within our apartments for years because they sort of feel a purpose attached to it. So that's the second one, and we've started to evolve into other areas. For example, sustainable packaging. We evolved into lettuce in hydroponic farming. So these areas, creates an impact for people of UAE. So that's why if you look at we are creating something for the generation next, and that is the purposeful businesses that we are creating.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's about taking the leap, moving forward with risks, then the demand, because we've built up. We talked a bit about it with Hassan as well when it comes to loyalty from our customers. Our tenants have been with us for decades, some of them, and they've passed down that brand advocacy to family, to their offspring. It's the same for the employees, organization as well. And I think that kind of it oozes the loyalty that we have from our customers as a result of taking risks for the sake of the region and for the infrastructure as well.
If you give you an example, there are so many instances where UAE National walks into one of our Nissan showrooms and says, "This is my 25th car," for example, and so that says, the loyalty. It talks big about, how we add value to them, by remaining close to them, their entire life cycle that they exist with us. And one of the key things for Vision 2030 is how do we enhance, the value that we offer to them. So if somebody who is been with us for 20 plus years, how do we ensure that we remain close to them? And I think that's one of the key parts, which is a human part of our Vision 2030.
Yeah. And equally, across all generations, so our newer generation, our next generation, the generations to come, they're interested to know what else we do and what we do beyond business and ROI as well, and beyond automotive. And that's when our new brands such as Cineo or Mela Farms come in. With Vision 2030, we have our strategic priorities, which are driving disruptive innovation, building trusted strategic partnerships, accelerating digital transformation, empowering talent, embedding sustainable impact, and delivering customer-centric growth. You are the man behind these. Can you take us through the roadmap?
So what's interesting? So today we put across a Vision 2030. There are two things which excites me a lot. One is seeing autonomous vehicles on the road, which are going to become a reality. Now, my prediction is that in 2035, probably, half of our rental fleet would be autonomous. That's scary, but very interesting. So that's one area which sort of keeps me awake. What really transforms across into this space? As we speak today, there are vehicles which are being tested, and we are going to service them. So there is ecosystem is evolving on the autonomous space. The other area which excites me is on innovation. So today we work closely with a couple of universities and colleges here, where UAE nationals are the main people who study there, and we are partnering with them for innovation. So today, if I see things that we are doing for them and what value they do to the organization, it is so exciting. So one of the other bold predictions is that probably 25% of our workflows would be Marathis by 2030. So, and we are making them, understand what the business is all about, but at the same time, they are bringing so much of ideas into the business. So I think these things are totally different from how we used to do in the business in the past.
Yeah.
These trends or these new things are very interesting as we progress.
Yeah, and I think that comes back to being an employer of choice as well, understanding and recognizing that it's very much a two-way process, a two-way journey when it comes to acquiring new talent, sustaining the talent, and investing in each other as well. I know that AWR University is a great example of that.
Yeah, I feel that we are in a space where innovation using AI tools becomes so much more important and critical in this journey towards Vision 2030.
And alongside us, on the same road or ahead of us, guiding us further, is the UAE. And how would you say these strategic priorities tie in to the UAE's vision?
Today we are so fortunate to be in this dynamic environment. to see in excess of 4% GDP growth over the last few years on sustain is incredible. The population growth is also there. The UAE leadership, brings innovation as one of their key inputs. So you go to any government companies, all of them are progressing at excellent speed on digital. Today everything you can do sitting on your mobile app. So transformation on digital is quick. UAE, I think, one of the first countries to have an AI minister. The amount of money that they are investing into data centers and AI is incredible. So we are blessed to be in this environment, which is dynamic, which is innovative, and it helps us, for our Vision 2030. It's exciting times because change is what is constant.
Yeah. And they show that it is achievable. They set the bar for us to work towards, and they lead by example as well. We're going to do a quick fire round.
Sure.
3 quick picks. A couple of them are recommendations, but the first one we'll start with is one aspiration from Vision 2030 that excites you the most.
I think innovation.
Yeah.
That's quite close to my heart. Specifically now that AI is going to sort of disrupt how we do our regular work. Chatbots taking notes for your meetings. So I need to unlearn my 35 years of how I worked across. So I think that excites me the most.
Yeah, the challenge.
Yeah.
A book, podcast, or quote that inspires you the most? I know you're a big reader.
So over the period of my life, I have evolved in terms of what I read. So if I think back, when I used to sell cars, the book which sort of gave me good insights to how I should excel my selling skills was a book titled The Richest Man of Babylon.
Oh yeah, that's a good book.
Yeah. And then, this book led me to another series of books written by author O.G. Mantino. And he wrote a series of books. So in the past, the way I would read across is pick up an author and try and read all his books. And that journey, I read a book, I think, which became quite popular from Robin Sharma, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And then the thing that stuck with me was, it was from one of his books, I don't remember which one, that if you want to have a coffee with somebody who's dead, read a book. Read his book. So over the years I have picked up autobiographies of various people and who were not alive, but then lived through their journeys. So I think that particular saying of Robin Sharma, which says that you can still have an insight into a person who's dead into his mind, which is interesting for me.
Yeah, it's an intriguing way to look at it.
Yeah.
And both those books you just mentioned are still widely renowned as well, aren't they, even today?
I don't read self-help books now as much as I used to do in the past. Reading has evolved quite a bit now. So
I think that leads on to the next question, which is one daily habit that keeps you grounded. And yours would be?
I can answer it in either ways. You want a reality answer or you want a philosophical answer?
You choose.
Reality answer is, all of us have to die one day. So why are you arrogant about something? Because it's not going to exist tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that keeps me grounded.
Mahesh, thank you. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.